Hey, Rifters, welcome to the show. Subscribe, rate, review, tell a friend. KeithReza.com has the shows that I know about, which is in January, San Diego with TJ Miller. And, November 8th, we'll do a Mamba show. I think we're getting Maz Jabroni or Quindell. Um, so that's that. All right, back to the show. We got a great guest today. He's known for The Lost Boys, Alan Frog. He's been in all three of them as Alan Frog. The Blob, using Jason Bateman's show Valerie for a couple episodes. Jamison Newlander is going to be here via Zoom. It's going to be really, really fun because I've always wanted to talk to a lost boy. Hey, all right, cool. We'll add a laugh track on that because that's a very, very funny joke. Hey guys, take this moment, subscribe, review, follow us on YouTube. You can follow me on TikTok, Keith Reza, or my new Instagram, Keith Reza, and follow us on Apple Podcasts and stuff. Just a disclaimer: I am recording this in an Airbnb. So if you see my mom or hear my mom walking by and stuff, it's because we're in a little cottage right now. So I don't know if it is a cottage, but it's pretty small, uh small place. So hostel, I like to call it a hostel. I'm sure I'll talk to Jameson about that, so you'll get to hear that story again. All right, guys. Subscribe, rate, review, follow us everywhere on social media, and enjoy Reza with Jamison Newlander coming up next.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Jamison, how are you, buddy?
Good. Should I go this way? There we go.
Oh, that'd be great.
Let me just make sure there's nothing incriminating in the background.
Oh, I like your cool love painting. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
isn't that cool? That's like my kid made that in like I don't know, like kindergarten or first grade or something.
Oh
You
my
know,
God.
can you tell like they took the Crayolas and they melted them? It's like they put tape to spell love, and they melted the Crayolas over it and then pulled off the tape and it spelled love.
I think you just won best dad ever for saving that stuff, because when I used to make that stuff for my family, I think they just threw it away.
Yeah, well, in all fairness, there's only so much. It's only so much you can keep. But like these are some of the star pieces. The ones that transcend into real art.
Yeah. Well, it's so good to talk to you, man. I've been trying to get you for a while, so thank you for saying yes. I appreciate it, buddy.
Totally, totally. I'm glad to. One sec. Let me. Okay, cool. Totally. I love. I love connecting with. It's like doing this show, and I'm doing my thing, my Jameson show or whatever, and so.
Yeah. Are you enjoying that? Because now, like, for example, when you were, doing a lot of acting and stuff, they didn't have these platforms for you to do that. You basically had to rely on studios and stuff, and now you can make your own content.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, I mean, more and more, I'm really trying to take advantage of that. It's like I'm somebody who has like a lot of like out there kind of ideas, not like out there, crazy out there, but like ideas like, oh, wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't it be cool to do this? And so that does kind of translate to the short content of today. So I'm trying to harness that and put that into motion. So yeah.
Yeah. That's what, because I do stand-up comedy, so that's kind of how, like, Jameson, I'm a celebrity as well. You know what I mean? So like
Sure, yeah, totally. Yeah. You,
but I have no desire to do movies or whatever. So like
no
I'm
desire at all. You must
I
have some desire.
I mean, I've done a couple, but I thought they were all horseshit. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it doesn't mean that they all will, because also there could be like, what if there was a movie, and this is just all hypothetical, right? But like about you as a stand-up, like Seinfeld, he wasn't delving that deep into his emotions, into that stuff. It was just right. It was like a 3D version of his stand up,
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But like I wanted to say, like I think it's cool to be like a guy like you who's in like all these horror stuff because one of the great things is not about the movies, but it's also like the aftermath of the movies. Like for example, you could go to Comic Cons
Yeah,
and just meet all these fans because horror fans are like so loyal.
it's
You
so
know what I
true.
mean?
Yeah.
So like I think like that's like another career itself where like if you're not filming something, you still have that no matter what, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. You know what? That's really been kind of saving me at the moment. As things are shifting in the industry, and I'm shifting as well. I was, for a long time, I had a real job for a while. I was I'm a writer, so I became like, I did like advertising, copywriting, and stuff like that.
Uh,
And I still do that, but it was like a really intense thing for a while. Plus two kids, so I was really kind of transitioning sort of from being like child actor in real life, back to like being, more full time actor. So it's those conventions are really helping to bridge the gap.
Yeah. I was a child actor too, but I never made it. So, but,
Yeah, well, so you have at least some of the experience, right? Of like going to auditions and stuff.
oh
Was that
yeah.
still how it was when you were doing it? I mean, as
Oh
a
yeah.
kid.
I feel like every audition I went on as a kid, I lost it to like Macaulay Culkin or,
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas or something. I was just like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah, well, it's funny because like I hang out with Keith Coogan. Do you know who that is?
Yeah, yeah. He
Yeah,
Venture's a babysitter, and a little
yeah,
fact that people don't know about Keith is he dibbles in stand up a little.
yeah, totally, totally. And and one of the things about Keith is that he how does that relate to what we were saying? I
Oh,
lost.
we were talking about child actors.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I used to see him on auditions all the time, and he had this resentment, not, but fun resentment, competitive, thing that I got Lost Boys because he really wanted Lost Boys. He was up for Lost Boys as well for my part,
Oh, was
and
he?
yeah, and so I like to always, I just saw him this past weekend at Fanboy Expo, and he was like, yeah, he's the one who beat me out for Lost Boys, and it's like I always counter with like, yeah, but that was the one part I got that we were up against each other for. Everything else he got, like
Yeah.
he booked everything, Keith and Scott Grimes and you know the other kids, in that group. That was my version of your Macaulay Culkin and stuff. You know.
Well, it's also like child actors back then. It seems like they were way more talented than child actors now. Like,
Is that right?
yeah, I feel so like that too because I feel like 70s, 80s and 90s child star they're kind of working for their family and I feel like a child star today they're just working to get famous. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, it's interesting you say that because, like, Keith is an example of somebody who he was supporting his family like most of his childhood, and stuff. And Feldman, another one, Corey Feldman, and yeah, I mean, I think it focused them in a way that they had to get those parts, and they had to do a decent job at school that they were allowed to work. They had this sort
Yeah.
of balancing act, and and then the burden of paying the bills, kind of thing. I wasn't really in that boat where I had where my parent. I was just doing it for maybe like college money, at first, until I got more serious about it. But I think that there's another factor from the '80s actors that Keith also brought up. I keep referencing referencing Keith, but he
It's a great name. That's my
right.
name.
Yeah, see, there you go. So, but I keep doing that because I just saw him, So, but it's just like this the just the whole experience of it all, and how like it's just fun to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. But see, like your career is very unique too, because like, you did a couple movies and stuff, but you also did a lot of play acting and theater
Yeah,
acting and stuff. And I feel like the public kind of forgets about that. You know what I mean? Like they always
yeah.
think, oh, you haven't done a movie in like 5 years or whatever. What have you been doing? And you're like, well, I've been fucking acting too. You know what I mean? I've been,
Yeah, it was one of the frustrating things that I discovered about that is that I could be doing some really awesome work in theater and really be respected in a certain community, and and then really be like really entertain audiences, knowing that, with that live theater, and it's not really remembered. It's and it's not like, it makes sense. It makes sense in retrospect. How do you remember it? What are you gonna,
Yeah.
like, look it up? Oh, there's a picture of them on stage. So
Do you feel doing like theater though is more because like it's a live audience experience, so I feel like that's more enjoyable. Where film, you can mess up over and over again and re-edit it and redo it, but theater, you literally have like one shot to nail it.
yeah, I mean, I always felt that way when I was growing up. I was sort of trained by theater actors. I was trained in LA by New Yorkers who would come out, and there was a whole wave of that. I mean, oh, that's what I was thinking about Keith, is that he was saying that he had a certain way of doing things that was really kind of like hit your mark, kind of thing. But there was this wave of actors that came in from New York that were much more like methody. They were much like the acting level was going up. Speak to your point,
Yeah.
earlier, is that there was this wave of really legit acting that came in, and I think I felt like that was from theater. That was because it was this wave from New York, and it was like Pacino. I saw Pacino early on in American Buffalo. Like maybe when I was 12 or something like
Did
that.
you really?
Yeah, yeah, it was incredible. I mean, also, it's possible to now idealize it, be like, man, that was Pacino, but it was riveting. He was riveting. It was
You know,
amazing.
people don't realize that too, is because like, if you go see a theater play, like I don't remember the play I saw, so I apologize, but I saw a play when I was like 8 or 9, and Jonathan Silverman was like the star in it. And
Uh huh.
like I'm watching, I was like, that dude's in Weekend at Bernie's. You know what I mean? So like
Right.
it's kind of like that where like it's a live concert type of thing, which
Yeah, totally. You're right. Right. It's like, oh, that's the guy. Like, that's the actual guy. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And someone also said this at this convention. Maybe, yeah, someone that I was talking about theater about this with, and they were like, it's one thing to see it on screen. It's one thing, blah blah blah. But when there's someone right in front of you who is believably going through this thing that's going on in this story, it's nothing like that. And yeah, and then you add the star factor to it. Yeah, that it's like what the conventions are. I mean, so I've described the conventions as kind of like the circus. Like,
Right.
it used to be that you wouldn't see an elephant. You couldn't see an elephant. You couldn't see whatever, a lion, because they didn't come to your town. You didn't have zoos, in every town. So the circus would come in. So now it's like that with celebrities. It's like
Yeah.
you see them on screen, but you wouldn't get a chance to meet them. But guess what? Here they are. So like dun, 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 dun.
I think conventions are so fun, like because I go to them, Jameson, because I'm also a celebrity. But what I do is I interview like all the fans and stuff, and like I try and like make content and stuff. And I think that that's
That's
fun.
great.
I think that's fun because one, it's a safe space where you can't take yourself too seriously,
Yes,
where
yes,
I mean, obviously you have to respect the respect, but it's also a place where you could kind of go a little past the line because everyone's there to
totally.
have a good time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, especially at a horror fest. I mean, or maybe not especially, but in a different way. At a
Yeah.
horror con. It's like, yeah, people, you can dress up as whatever. Totally out there, totally sexy, totally crazy. It's like it's all part of it.
Yeah. You ever see like a sexy zombie or whatever,
Oh
and
yeah, I love that.
you're signing an autograph, and you're like, oh, I wish I was in that movie.
Like, I got to do a zombie movie.
Oh man,
You're like calling your agent. Can you? Is there any zombie movies I could get into? Anything? A short?
I feel like zombies, like that's the one thing where like, it's much like vampires, but I feel vampires are still traditional movies. I feel zombies, they were like in movies for a while, like Dawn of the Dead and all that stuff. And then they're like, they got an idea. They're like, hey, we should make this a TV show and drag it out because there's no cure for zombies.
Right,
You,
right, right. And
you
ultimately, it's about how awful people are, right? I mean,
Exactly. So I feel that's why you see all these zombie shows like The Walking Dead or The Last of Us, stuff like that, because there's so much, I don't want to say boredom, that's the wrong word, but there's so much elements before they become a zombie that you could stretch it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. There's real life. Enough real life in it that you can like relate to it. Is that what you mean? Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not just
yeah.
the crazy zombie parts. It's like there's real life, and then there's like zombies, and then which
Exactly.
is a good,
Like,
that's a good formula, to get people used to a certain reality, and then oh no, that reality gets destroyed.
yeah, because like on the TV shows, the zombies are only in it for like 5 minutes, if you've noticed that. You
I
know what I mean?
haven't. That's interesting. Yeah,
It's all about the characters surviving and stuff. And
right.
I think people attach more to the zombies because they hardly see them, where in the movies, they'd see them all the time.
And then
Y-
when you see them, they're just like, oh, that's goofy. Like, why are they? I mean, not always, but it's like you see them too much.
Yeah.
It's like the shark, right? I mean, the classic story of the Jaws, where like, Spielberg didn't like the shark, it wasn't working and stuff. So it's like most of the movies you don't see the shark at all, and it's like brilliant.
Yeah. I've never heard that story.
Oh, really?
To be honest with you, I've never seen Jaws though.
Oh, I mean, for me personally, Jaws is up there among my probably certainly top 10, if not top 5 favorite movies. Like it's
Really?
because of the character, the relationship between the three of them, Roy Scheider, Robert Shaw, and Richard Dreyfuss. You really get time there, and that struggle between them, and then I mean, I recommend it. It's really, really good movie.
Yeah. I don't think I could watch it because I had a bad experience with Richard Dreyfuss once.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, I was doing stand up in Vegas and he was in the audience. And I made a joke. I was like, "Oh, you look like Richard Dreyfuss." And he's like, "I am Richard Dreyfuss." I was like, "All right, cool." And I think I kind of played it off like this guy's full of shit. You
Right,
know what
right.
I
It's a good way to do it, right? It's a good joke.
mean? And then after the show, I meet him. It's Richard Dreyfuss. And he was just kind of mean to me, but I think maybe he was mean to me because he felt maybe I was being mean to him. I don't know. And it just kind of be like, now I have no desire to watch Jaws. You know what I mean?
It'll be interesting. You know what I would love to do is this is actually be a good little podcast or a good little YouTube show is people who have those issues with a celebrity to like take them and like go track down the celebrity and be like, do you remember this time? And try and talk it out and see if there's a real reason for it. A little you know, like conflict
Exactly.
resolution, with the star kind of thing.
Yeah, I
Because it's
mean,
probably his mind was probably somewhere else, is my guess. Like, he was probably like, who knows, but he was probably, when was this?
this was about I want to say 13 or 14 years ago, you know?
I have
So
no insight.
yeah, but so it's also like like my humor is very non-filtery because I have Asperger's syndrome, so I kind of talk about that and it's like
Interesting.
pretty, it's pretty crisp and sometimes I say stuff when I don't mean to offend people. I just say it because I'm just trying to get the laugh, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah. Well, totally. I totally get that. Well, I can totally see being on stage be like, no, I am Richard Dreyfuss. Like, well, where are you going to go from that? Like, if you're going to try to add to the laugh, it's like
yeah.
you can go with, oh, awesome, everybody, Richard Dreyfuss. That actually is one option. But if you go like, yeah, right, then you might get a nice laugh. You are a comedian after all. That's your job, is to make them laugh.
Yeah, I don't remember word for word what I said, but I know I said make another stakeout movie or something when I was having, and like
So that's still funny.
yeah, but
In retrospect, this is how I think you can do it. Not that you can go back in time, but if you could, this is how I think you would do it. You'd be like, ladies and gentlemen, Richard Dreyfuss, and everybody claps and be like, and we'll just pretend that you're Richard Dreyfuss. Then you get both.
but if you ever go to a comedy show, people do that all the time. You know what I mean? It just happened to do the point that because we got to move on to Jamison Newlander, but what I'm saying is like uh Richard Dreyfuss doesn't look like Richard Dreyfuss anymore. So like when someone says that, it's kind of like okay, I kind of see it, but
I
you
see.
know
I see. Yeah. Uh-huh.
it's kind of like that. Like I didn't mean any offense to it. I just didn't
Right.
really believe an old guy was Richard Dreyfuss.
Right. Right. Totally. And he's probably like, I look so old. I'm Richard Dreyfuss. But
Yeah.
in any case, yeah, we've talked enough about Richard.
Yeah, but I wanted to, a thing I wanted to ask you too is because I found out you've written some plays, And I wanted to ask you, like, did that come up when you were doing theater? Like when you were doing theater, were you thinking, "Holy shit, I could do this too. I have some good stories for the plays."
Yeah, yeah, it did. And in a way, it's all still kind of going on because it was a process of like, okay, I'm an actor, embracing the fact that I was an actor, which is, one thing in itself. And then the sort of being like, yeah, I'm an actor and it's what I do. And then to look at it and say, you know what? I actually also have been writing the whole time, the whole time. It's just that as an actor, things took off. As a writer, I was doing it sort of more, privately, or feeling like I still needed to develop it and stuff. So like in the mid 90s, I won an award for this play that I wrote. And so it had a production at this big theater in Louisville, Actors Theater of Louisville.
Yes.
Um, and then it went to we did another small production of it in New York, and it was great. It was awesome, and it kicked off something in me being like, you know what, I can do this. I do like writing, and it hasn't really happened immediately because I really think that I'm a good writer. I'm writing a bunch of stuff right now. I'm just not. There's nothing I can point to say like, yeah, that's my signature style or this. I've written and directed some, a couple of things, and um, so it's still in process. But yes, that it is what it came out of. Just being like, you know what, we're talking about telling a story here, and so now I've been a part of telling some of these stories. Well, what stories do I want to tell? What? How can I use
Yeah.
these tools of the theater and of film to tell a cool story?
Yeah. Now forgive me but I have a question about the writing aspect because
Yes.
I write scripts and I use Final Draft and I don't know you said you wrote this play in 97 and you won an award.
Yeah.
How did you do it on a computer or did you hand like how is that process like?
Well,
Like
I got on my horse and yeah.
like a typewriter? I don't know. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
You know what? People still were using some typewriters at the time. In fact, I have a cool typewriter. I'll show you in a sec.
Oh, nice.
But I didn't really ever use it. I was one of the early adopters of Final Draft, like in 90, in maybe even like early 90s. I was into Final Draft, maybe even before that. Um, on even when it was on like floppy disk or like
Yeah, yeah.
and so so that's how I wrote it. I mean, it was much trickier then, and you couldn't convert it as easily because they were trying to keep the copyright. They're trying to keep it like you got to write always in Final Draft if that's what you want to do. Now it's much more flexible.
Yeah.
So and
Screenwriting software, I feel, is one of the best life-saving
uh,
things if you're a writer.
yeah, oh, totally, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to
Yeah.
spend a lot of time trying to figure out formatting, and then also, now I'm writing on my phone on the Final Draft app.
Oh, are you? Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, I resisted, not exactly resisted, but I was open to the possibility that that wasn't going to work for me because I do like sitting there and thinking with the keyboard and all that. But there's something about having it with me all the time. So it's
Yeah.
like you have an idea, and it's not like, oh, let me make a note of it, and I'll get to that when I'm writing. It's like you just take a second, put it in there,
Yeah,
and so
definitely.
it's that's what's kind of working for me right now.
I try. I've been kind of lazy because I've been going through like, personal stuff and that's been taking my attention, but I try and write at least 2 or 3 pages a day.
That's
Y-
great.
because I feel if a movie is probably technically it's supposed to be 120 pages, but if you cut and edit and you make 90 pages, it could be a good crisp movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
So I try and think like that, and I don't want to write TV shows, even though I have nothing against TV shows. I'm just a movie
sure.
guy. I love
Yeah,
movies.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I at some point you probably like, right. It's like some everybody gets their version of the paradigm, the like 3 act, kind of thing, 3 act
Yeah,
structure. And so it's like when I was a kid, it was like Sid Field was it was there were other books, but Sid Field was like the Bible kind of, for the 3 act structure. And so I watched that. I've been studying movies since then, since I was, 10, looking at the structure and be like, look at this. Oh, I drive my wife crazy. Not exactly crazy, but I'm always being like, oh my God, wow. Okay, when did that, pause it. Let me see where that is in the movie. Trying to be like, are we at the midpoint? Are we at what are we at here? Because
Yeah.
for me, that structure of it is like the backbone. Any version of the structure, like you said, like yeah, based on a 120-page screenplay. But yeah, I'm writing a screenplay right now where that I have high hopes for. And it's yeah, I'm shooting for 90-95 pages.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Do you mind sharing like what kind of genre is it?
Yeah, so I'm getting divorced. I'm in the process of doing that, which sucks.
Oh,
And but you know, so I'm writing a little screenplay about it, and it ends up being a kind of and it's actually for me and Jason Patrick. I mean, when I say that, like he hasn't agreed to it at all.
no, but
That's why
that's
I have it in
how
mind.
that's kind of how you help write is when you're writing a character, you think of actors you want to
Exactly.
it makes the characters come to life better.
Yeah, exactly. And it's sort of like someone who's been through it before and someone who's going through it, but it ends up being kind of a bit of a romantic comedy about his past relationship that and then it's this really cool structure where you know I shouldn't talk too much about it just because it's going to make no sense, but I'm really excited about how like the characters are developing and how I really love to write comedy and like you know when I say edgy comedy, it's I'm not exactly edgy anymore, but I mean like you can be like momentarily edgy,
Right. Yeah.
dialogue that really is punchy and fun, and so I feel like it's that I'm really excited,
Well, that's my favorite type. I love romantic comedies and stuff.
right,
I
that's the
like
best, right,
Yeah, I like horror films too, but I think
right, that's the best too.
I think romantic comedies have the best form of humor because the truth is like as we were talking, 90 minutes to 120, that's 2 hours, you know what I mean, at the max to tell a love story. And I think it's so funny because in real life you can't fall in love in 2 hours. So it's kind of like that where like, you know what I mean? The
Yeah,
humor has to be very and it pulls the heartstrings to give people hope and stuff. You know what I mean? So like
there's
that's why I like that.
yeah, I totally agree, and it's like falling in love. I mean, it's like you got people who are already in love with someone and want to relive it again in a movie, and want to like experience it again with the person that they're with, or someone who doesn't have that yet and they're looking at it and hopeful. It's like it's so great and it's so much a part of what a lot of people do. Is like you know try to meet people and fall in love.
Now, did you ever like audition for romantic comedies, or did you stick in the horror genre?
I auditioned for the whole range, really. Like when I was certainly, at the time when I was a kid, I auditioned for all the stuff that like you see that like River did and Corey and Sean Astin and and Keith, all that stuff I auditioned for.
Yeah.
And some of it I did. I mean, some of it like TV stuff. I worked with River. I don't know if you saw that in your looking into
River Phoenix, yeah.
yeah, I had a day on a movie of the week with River Phoenix. It was awesome, and certainly even more sweet in retrospect, sweet and sad, of course, sweet and sour. That was the only day I ever met him, or but
Yeah.
I have a day. I should write a
Uh,
play about that.
yeah, my day with the river.
It's not a bad idea, actually.
Yeah, because people I mean, just look at the John Candy documentary that came out, you know what I mean? Like there
Yeah,
people e- even if I mean I never met River, but I'm assuming and I never met John Candy, but like whenever people like have those experiences with them, like those small experiences that change their lives forever. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
it's true. I mean, he was just a really dynamic person, like someone that was just so friendly, but like so chill but friendly, super cool but not aloof, it was just great and awesome actor to work with. The clip of us in that movie is online somewhere.
Yeah. We'll find that, put it in the show notes. We'll be like, hey,
I
and
love it. Yeah,
then we'll name it My Clip with the River
yeah,
or
my day with River.
Jameson's clip with
I
uh,
should like a little movie would be good, like my day with River. It's not bad. It's almost like I could even extrapolate it where we like maybe walk down the block a little bit and go to like a restaurant or something,
yeah. And then I wanted to ask you about the Lost Boys because uh before we talk about that, I gotta say, you know how like you were saying you were going for all these parts with all these guys and stuff. I get a vibe from you like a little Ralph Macchio, Charlie Sheen type thing. You know what I mean? Like I feel like those
Yeah,
were the parts you should have
yeah,
tried.
totally. I was even more like Ralph Macchio than I realized then, and I would
Yeah.
have pushed it a little bit more. I also thought of myself a little bit like Patrick Dempsey, but
Yeah, yeah. You got a little
right.
Patrick Dempsey in you.
Yeah, good. I'm glad to hear that because I always thought that. First of all, I thought he was awesome, or is still awesome, But
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about the Lost Boys when you
and you
were
can't buy
filming.
me love. I auditioned for that too, by the way.
Oh, did you really? That
Yeah,
was a
yeah,
great movie.
yeah. So yeah, I
Oh,
guess I did for romantic comedies. Also, like Father Like Son. That was a Keith, not Keith Coogan. It was the guy from Growing Pains.
Kirk Cameron.
Yeah, Kirk Cameron. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that guy was everywhere too. Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah. You know what's funny about Can't Buy Me Love is I don't know if you've ever seen the movie, but
Yeah,
at the end he gets the girl, so maybe money can buy you love.
it
Ah.
does, and then but it's like it on its own. It doesn't. Like he had to learn the lesson too. Maybe.
Yeah, yeah. But so about the Lost Boys, when you're filming and doing rehearsing and stuff, because I've heard mixed stories about this, but I've heard is Kiefer Sutherland like nice to you guys, or does he like pick on people, or because then I've heard he's the sweetest guy in the world, but then I've heard he's like, what? Why am I here? You know what I mean?
It's funny. Okay, so I had limited interaction with Kiefer, partly because I didn't exactly. I mean, I knew who Donald was, but like Stand by Me wasn't out yet, and I wasn't really like super up on like, oh, that's that guy, or and so like I knew he was a guy, and Kiefer Sutherland. I was like, okay, that must be Donald Sutherland's kid, I guess, kind of thing. You know what I mean? I was a little clueless in that way,
Uh,
and the couple times I saw him on set, um, is when he was describing how he wanted to kill that guy in that scene in the scene. Like I was just telling someone this in at this convention that Joel was always the director Joel Schumacher was always telling us to bring ideas. He's like bring ideas. So I got to hear Kiefer describing to the special effects guy. He's like that bald guy. I want to bite his head.
oh my God.
Yeah, it's cool little memory, right? At the time I
Yeah.
didn't think much of it, but it's a cool memory. So, because also I didn't know that was going to be such an iconic little moment in the movie, and you're
Yeah.
just like, oh, geez, I guess this is not cool, this vampire thing.
It's so funny because you read about actors who are method and intense like Daniel Day-Lewis and all that stuff, but you don't realize judging from your experience, like Kiefer Sutherland was probably a method guy too. You know what I mean? And you don't really realize that. I don't know, maybe because he didn't win any awards like Daniel Day-Lewis or something like that, but you
Yeah,
don't realize it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that it takes a certain amount of focus, a certain amount of something, and every actor's different, but it takes a certain amount of something, and sometimes that means that you carry your character a little bit onto the set. Sometimes it means you carry your character completely with you onto the set. I mean, from the shooting, but or offset, like the story of Sean Penn from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I don't know if you heard that he was just Jeff Spicoli the whole time. Like, that's how
yeah,
he was, and it's like there's something to that, to doing that. And there's also if Kiefer was, being a little bit like, a little bit kind of skeptical of us, maybe like that could be by design from the director, in the same way that he had me and Feldman hanging out all the time, to kind of get our sort of chemistry, our working together chemistry going, So it's hard to say. I mean, I saw Kiefer one time in adult life so far. In 2019, we did a convention together, and then I saw his band, who was really awesome, actually. I don't know if you've heard of his band, but
yeah. He does music too, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he's great. And so I saw him for a second. He was awesome. He was really great.
Well, what was the band's name? Julia Roberts is no longer with me.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a great band name.
Yeah, it is a good band name, or like No Julia or something like that. Like Julia with like a thing with a cross, like a no. You know what I mean?
Yeah. My
You can put
I
a
don't
graphic on the screen, right, to have like it me drawing that.
Yeah. I don't know if this is true because he kind of did this just to be funny, but my best friend, he's no longer with us, but my best friend was Norm Macdonald, and
Oh wow, that was your
yeah,
best friend.
yeah, we
Wow.
toured together and stuff, and he claims he dated Julia Roberts, and he said he said, I don't know if this is true, so if like Deadline's listening to this or whatever. But he said that she dumped him for Kiefer Sutherland.
Ooh, wow, another piece of the puzzle.
So I have no clue if that's true or whatever, but I just remember whenever we'd talk and like we'd watch movies and stuff, he'd be like, "Oh yeah, I'd be married to Julia Roberts if it wasn't for that Kiefer fucking Sutherland," you
That's
know.
funny. And then he bolts, right? Right? Isn't that the story? He bolted. No, she
I
bolted on him. No,
I
no.
don't know. I don't know the story. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
that's it's
What's funny is that Rosenbaum, Michael Rosenbaum, Lex Luthor,
Rosenbaum, yeah.
Rosenbaum. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, he had this podcast and he interviewed them and he asked them about that. Like he
Oh, did
interviewed
he?
them
Oh,
on it. Yeah. And like good for him, right? It's like he went for that question. Of course, that's what we're all wondering, right?
the juicy stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny because they answered it. They didn't like refuse to answer it. They were answering it, but they didn't say anything. They didn't say anything like that you could really hold on to. It was just like
Yeah.
they would say like a funny little line about it and then joke about it and then good for them. They kept the show going without really
Yeah.
talking too much about it.
I don't really like intense stuff. So like when people
Yeah.
ask me, because like usually whenever I do interviews, because Jameson, I'm a celebrity as well.
Yes.
Uh, they always ask me what's it like having autism or what's it like working with Norm Macdonald, and like those are the only two questions people can ever come up to ask me, and
Right. Right.
it's part of my life, so I have to answer it. But it's also kind of like there's a lot of there's a lot of dark to every light, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Totally. Yeah.
so and that is with working with Norm and also being on the spectrum, like it's not, there's a lot of dark stuff that goes around of all that stuff, so like it's kind of
Sure.
like if you want to hear about the real answers, I'll give you the real answers, but you got to take them both to how they are. And I
Yeah.
feel a lot of interviews don't like that because they're like, we just want the juicy stuff,
Right. Right. Totally.
you
Totally.
know. But Michael
Yeah. But
Rosenbaum's great, man.
I mean, it's great. I mean, that he did it good naturedly and, and that they were, it was a good show. They put on a good show together. you know,
We got to get you on Inside of You.
Oh yeah, yeah, you're right. Actually, no, you're right. I should talk to Rosenbaum about it. Rosenbaum. I thought it's Baum,
No, it's
but
bomb.
oh,
I could text him right now and I could say, hey,
oh yeah. Well, I could text him.
yeah, I could say, hey, my best friend, Jamison Newlander, he wants to do Inside of You. And
What's
he'll,
funny is that no, I mean you could. I mean, we I knew him in New York actually a little bit before he was famous, and like I was the famous one to him,
oh,
and
really?
yeah, I mean we weren't like close, but like we ran into each other a couple times. We ran in parallel crowds and stuff, and and then and then he would play poker over at Feldman's for a while. Me, Feldman, Keith, in Keith's wife Pinky. I don't know if you know those guys. If you know Pinky,
No, I don't know Pink. Yeah.
and Rosenbaum,
Uh,
and a couple other minor celebs would step in.
uh, well, maybe one day I'll be there. I'll be the minor celeb. I'll
Yeah,
be
yeah.
like,
There's plenty of room for minor celebs. You got to be a bit, at least a bit of a celeb.
yeah. I mean, if you've seen Comedy Central, stand up diversity, stuff like that, you know who I
Oh yeah,
am.
I buy it. I mean, you're there. I just mean, like it's not going to be, it's in a club that it's in. You're in a circle that not everyone's in. Is what I'm trying.
High rollers, that's what they say, right?
Basically, yeah,
Yeah.
basically high rollers, except for low stakes. We don't play high. I'm
But
actually terrible at poker. I
are you
love
really?
I love playing poker, and I'll get lucky sometimes, but like I do not know how to play. Like I'll just be like kind of chatting, and people are all just like they somehow know what other people have in their hands. They figured it out, and that makes sense that that's how you play. But I can't wrap my head around that for some reason.
So I'm gonna give you a poker tip, all right?
Oh
So
yeah,
night, yeah, you're gonna win every single time. Okay.
wow,
So you go to poker, you get your cards, right? and
Yeah.
there's always that moment of everyone's thinking what to do, right?
Yeah.
You gotta break the ice immediately, and you just gotta say, "Hey, I have excellent cards." Get in everyone's head, right? Just say that out loud, and they'll get all freaked out.
So you do that every time or what?
I do it every time. It's so funny because I don't know how to play poker, but everyone like, I'm out, and then
It's
there's
like,
been
yeah.
a, and you're bluffing, and you're like, aha.
It's funny now. You're reminding me of even like another actor, like from like the '60s and the '70s. Like, is there someone you get that you look like a TV actor from the '70s?
I get the kid from Two and a Half Men. I get Macaulay Culkin. I get Andrew McCarthy.
See a little Andrew McCarthy there.
Yeah, I get Emilio Estevez if he didn't eat Emilio Estevez.
Yeah,
I get a lot of things.
interesting. Anyway,
Um, yeah, I'm trying to get Jamison Newlander though, but
yeah. See if you can get my. Do I have any? I don't even know. You don't know what your own like quirks are.
I know my quirks. I don't know your quirks though, but like
I don't know
that's
my quirks though. I know your quirks. No,
yeah.
I'm
We should change this podcast to the Quirks podcast. I think that would be great. You know what I mean?
yeah. The like I know your quirks
Quirks.
podcast.
But how is like the chemistry, because you said like, you had to get chemistry with Corey and stuff. And because your chemistry on the screen is so good, and obviously you guys are still good friends and stuff, but like how does that happen? Because that takes time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. So it's a couple things. First of all, we really got along right away when we met each other in the basically in the callback at the audition.
Yeah.
So we really got along right away. We were joking. We were sort of on the same wavelength, joke wise, which we still are. Just if we're in a zone where we're just sort of having fun and joking, like it's so fun. He's so funny, that way. Um, and then like the thing is that I at the time, and I mean I'm this way too, except I don't take myself as seriously. I like to think, but at the time I was a very serious actor. Like
Right.
I was in acting class, and I took things very seriously, and which is why I think you get the serious Alan Frog that you get. Is that I was very serious about what we were doing,
Right.
kind of thing, and so um some of that like checking in with him is from us naturally kind of doing that, which I think some of it on my end comes from being in an acting class and them sort of saying that, check in with your, check in with your brother and see, what's your brother thinking about that. Sometimes in an acting class, maybe that's some of the stuff I needed, where they just pointed out like things that, okay, this is something you can do aside from just saying the line. You can check in with somebody. So that's a piece of it, from me. And then Joel either was encouraging that from the beginning, or he saw that, and I can remember Joel saying that, being like, and you guys check in with each other.
Yeah. It's probably easier because you guys were playing brothers where like, I don't want to say any names, but I kind of went pretty far in an audition where it wasn't like a screen test, but it was like a chemistry test where I was supposed to be the best friend of this guy. And so I hung out with this pretty big actor, and I didn't get the part. One, because there's no chemistry. Two, I thought he was the biggest dick in the world. So
Right.
like it was like kind of like that where like you can't really make up chemistry. You either have it or you don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally know what you mean. Yeah, and it's like you can try. I think you can try and kind of make up for it and kind of fool people a little bit. But when that chemistry is there, which I think it is between me and Feldman, I think we have good on-screen chemistry. Even now when we're doing cameos together, as a loft, as a lark.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, like we do, but I mean, those cameo videos,
Yeah, no, I'm on Cameo. I know what that
right? Yeah,
is.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. You do those. So it's like we do those sometimes as the Frog Brothers, and just someone orders one as for the Frog Brothers, and it's funny. It's dumb. I mean, like don't look at it as high art or anything, but we're just riffing off each other, and it's like it's still pretty fun. We have a good chemistry, doing that. It's fun.
Yeah. Well, Jameson, I want to respect your time, but I have three more questions. Can I ask
Sure.
these real fast?
Yeah,
Okay.
please.
Okay. So, question number one.
But fast. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh, okay. Question number one. Is it true that you are best friends with Sean Young?
That's funny. I'm not best friends with Sean Young, but she played my wife in Bone Tomahawk,
Oh,
which
okay.
is this Western horror movie that we did in 27, 16, 17, something like that. And I loved her. I mean, like when I say loved, like I also loved her back in the day. I mean, she was.
Oh, yeah. She was like my dream girl.
Oh
You
yeah,
know?
she was incredible. But by the time I met her, we were both older, and but she was also still stunning and really sweet. And if you see we also I thought had on-screen chemistry together, but we only have like a moment together. If you see that movie, we have like a couple of moments together where she's my wife in the saloon,
Is
scene.
that the one with Kurt Russell?
Yeah, yeah. So
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I
so
saw
that
it.
came out at the same time as Hateful Eight. So sometimes people get them confused, which
Yeah.
is cool. It's actually the same editor. A little interesting note.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and so Kurt was brilliant in Bone Tomahawk, and Bone Tomahawk is a really good movie. It's a western, but then it's a horror.
Yeah.
It's like they draw you in as a western, and then it's a horror. So it's cool.
A movie just did that recently too. It was very good. I'm forgetting the name, but it had Michael B. Jordan in it. Um, it just came out like Sinners.
Oh yeah, Sinners. Uh huh.
Sinners. Yeah, it was just like that Western, then it surprised you with horror and stuff. It was
There you
very,
go. I haven't yet seen Sinners. That's lame being in the genre. I haven't seen that yet, but I got to see that.
yeah, yeah.
Is it
You
great?
I mean, yeah, it was good. But if you want to see a great movie, watch The Long Walk.
The
Like
Long Walk. Okay.
that surprises you too. It's not Western though, but
Oh, no, I'm not seeing it. No, I'm kidding.
so my second question is, if you were an ice cream flavor at Ben and Jerry's ice cream, what would your flavor be, and what would you name yourself?
um, I love it. I love it. Okay, so I'm gonna have to go with uh I'm trying to think of the ones that I like, but it's like I was thinking like Chunky Monkey. I don't know that I want to be thinking of myself as Chunky Monkey. I think I am one of the Ridge flavors, like one of those Ridge, like um what's a
Caramel,
uh, caramel,
snickerdoodle.
yeah, not Snickerdoodle. I don't like Snickerdoodle, but I mean, even like with a crunch, something caramel crunch, something like
Yeah,
that. You know,
frog crunch,
Frog crunch. I like it. I like it.
right?
But they broke up, right, Ben and Jerry?
Yeah, but I mean, this is just a fun question.
No, no, no. I can't entertain it. Okay.
And then my last question is if you could go back into a time machine and talk to a younger version of yourself, it could be from yesterday or whenever you were a kid or whatever, knowing everything you know now, and you only have 20 seconds to tell yourself advice, what would you tell yourself?
I'd say this is a people business. Love the people that you love and love them even more, and support them. Don't be competitive with people if you can help it.
Oh, wow. I'm so glad you said that. I thought you were going to say, Jameson, this is Jamison Newlander from 2025. How are you? If Keith Reza asks you to do his podcast, say no.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Save yourself an hour of your life. No, not at all. Not
Uh,
at all. No, but write a good some good advice there, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. So where can the folks at home follow you? You mentioned you're on Cameo, so people could get cameos to support you.
Yeah, so first of all, Cameo, I have this idea. I'm about to, I think, do a video about it today that I'm gonna give it's gonna be a kind of a 2-for-1 Halloween cameo, because if you order a cameo for me, I'm gonna give you the cameo for me, and then I'm also gonna flip the lighting, put on the beret, and get you an Alan Frog cameo as a little bonus. From
Whoa.
the from the field, a non-canon, but kind of thing. right? So
Yeah.
that's on Cameo. It'll be like, same price. I might even bring the price down a little for Halloween. This will be like the month of October special kind of thing.
A trick or treat cameo.
Ooh, a trick or treat cameo. Like, what do you mean? Like that? We'll just call it that, or is different every.
No, like if because it's kind of frowned upon when adults go trick or treating. They
Right.
could they could get a cameo instead of candy, get a cameo, right?
Interesting. I like it. I like it. You can use it too, but I'll try and beat you to it. No. So there's that. And then I'm on Instagram a lot, and I really need to get I'm on TikTok, but I don't spend that much time on there. I really need to do. I'm kind of meaning to get serious about all of that. Like there was a time I was doing this show, the Jamison Newlander's Lost Location, searching for the Lost Boys, but that sort of stalled because I'm trying to get the tech to a different level, and then I'm like rethinking the show. Should I be doing it broader, et cetera, et cetera? So um
Social media is one of those things that I feel if you weren't on it at the beginning, it's just a tough time because like my Instagram just got suspended or whatever, and I had it for like 15 years. I don't even know if I could get it back. And it was an AI glitch. And what I've been telling people is don't rely your business on social media. So I guess what I'm saying is the fact that you're not good at social media, that's actually a blessing in disguise because with the AI coming and like a little thing, community standards, whatever you say, even if you didn't mean to, it gets read as a, you
interesting.
know, so
Good
I
to
mean,
know.
I'm trying to say like there's a little light
That's
out of that Turner,
Yeah, yeah. No, that's true. Well, so I have a website, JamisonNewlander.com, but I just sort of neglected it for like just long enough that my go-go daddy, like my thing, I don't own the the domain anymore.
yeah.
But I'm about to get that kind of going again. So generally speaking, you can find me there. You should be able to find me there again soon. And then so that and conventions. I also need to get serious about like posting like all the conventions that are coming up. I'm going to Scarefest in Lexington, Kentucky
Oh,
in 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks, with Jason Patrick and Billy Worth and Chance Corbett and maybe some others are going to be there as well. Should be a rocking good time.
You gotta
Um,
try the fried chicken in Kentucky.
oh yeah, I hear about this Kentucky Fried Chicken. Yeah,
It's so good.
yeah. So there's that. And then I'm gonna be starting soon. This is all just ideas, but I'm gonna be starting something, like a weekly kind of show that I'm gonna call Jamison TV, which is just gonna be like all the dumb stuff that I kind of think of throughout the week and filming it, and then maybe an interview, maybe bringing, a little, just a kind of a weekly little check in that hopefully will elevate to some actual fun stuff.
That'd be great, man. Well, thank you so much for letting me interview you, and hopefully I did okay.
Yeah,
And
yeah, it was awesome. It was a great conversation, and I'm sorry we didn't get more into your stuff. I mean, I'd be down to
it's
hear more about your adventures.
oh no, it's all about you though. Like,
I
you're
thought in this case I'd let it be about me, but
yeah. I feel like that's what uh I feel like that's what it is because like, I feel I learned from everyone that I interview how to be a better actor or a better comedian or most importantly a better person. So I feel like that's why it's very important to me to do interviews. So like I thank you for doing my show.
definitely. So, what did you learn from me? I'm sorry, I'm coming.
I learned that you should never throw away your kids' paintings because they'll actually be some of them could be pretty good.
There you go.
And I learned that you should not take Kiefer Sutherland seriously if he's mean to you or not because it's
Yeah,
Kiefer Sutherland.
yeah. There you go.
I learned I have to see Jaws and forgive Richard Dreyfuss for heckling me.
Yeah,
I learned my trick or treat cameo that I'm gonna do is
yeah,
gonna go flying. And I learned most importantly what I learned about you, Jameson, is next time I play poker, I'm gonna say, "Hey, I have excellent cards."
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna try that too.
Well, it was an honor to meet you, Jameson, and thank you
It's
again,
good to
buddy.
talk to you. Yeah,
All right,
definitely. All
all
right.
right,
Be
all
well.
right, all right. That was the episode with Jameson Newlander, guys. Subscribe, rate, review, follow him, and we'll see you guys next week on Razor Riffs.